So I was farming the EOSF domain, and instead of ending up with something that I could potentially use for like EOSF to high or maybe a Raiden Shogun upgrade, I actually ended up upgrading Nahida by getting an absolutely goated EM cup. As a direct result of that, according to the Akasha system, I now have one of the world's strongest Nahidas. Yes, one of the strongest Nahidas on the planet. Let me show you what she can do. We're here with Nahida and Masanori. Okay, so in order for me to demonstrate just specifically Nahida's damage, we're going to bring along Baiju, Sara, and Sucrose. Baiju has this thing where anyone who is healed by his shield does additional spread damage, so that's where he comes in. Sucrose is EM share, so that's going to be really, really useful. Sara has buffing and also Electro in order to trigger Quicken. 76,000 damage. And when you have a look at my build, which I will show in a second, I might actually need this. 75,000 damage. 64,000 damage. I mean, at this point, bringing Sucrose might actually be overkill.
Mind the side effects.
Something like that. Now, unlike what I normally do, which is show off a build card, I'm actually going to go through in some detail the actual build. Let's do this. We have the Nahida build. 1339 attack, 788 EM. There's actually no additional Dendro bonus. This is actually coming specifically from the Deepwood set. 62 179 on the crit stat. So you'd think it's not particularly amazing, but keep in mind that 788 EM is actually doing quite a lot. We are, of course, using Kagura's Verity. 4-piece Deepwood. And here are the Deepwood pieces. I want you to take note of my Flower and Feather having more than 100 EM each. And that cup that I have now was, of course, the cup that I recently got. It is a difference between this cup and a previous cup that didn't have any crit rate but had 19 crit damage. I actually C2'd my Nahida, and we all know what effect C2 has on Nahida, and also just every single Dendro team in the game. It's really, really good. But I was trying to get, I think it was a Dory constellation, and I ended up getting C2 Nahida and C1 Nilu. But I'm pretty happy with having C2 Nahida, of course. And of course, I triple crown Nahida. Of course I did. You don't? That's pretty much it. The power of Nahida. It's interesting that when you compare a build like mine, for example, with other builds that are supposedly stronger than mine, but not necessarily by a lot, because keep in mind this is a top 1% Nahida build. Most of them are actually, for spread damage, EM Dendro crit builds, which makes sense. You'd think that building a traditional DPS build for Nahida would yield better results. But I would argue that if you are able to at least maintain some sort of a crit ratio, depending on which weapon you decide to use, building EM crit, potentially even triple EM, but that might be overkill because of the fact that Nahida's Temple of Wisdom does also include some EM sharing. That probably is a better build overall, because then you can also use that Nahida build to some varying degree of success whenever you play something like a Nilu team, where there is a non-zero chance that enemies are going to have Hydro on them, and therefore you could potentially allow Nahida to be the one who triggers the Bloom Seed. On occasion. It's not ideal, you tend to want to still use your Hydra character, but you at least have the chance that Nahida might be the one who actually does it, and if she does, you're not exactly losing a whole lot because you are going at least, in my case, double EM, and I do have 788 EM as well. So that's potentially something that I can also use. Otherwise, also triple Hydro Nahida for a Nilu team. I think at that point, Nahida is the trigger for the most part. So, you know, we still have some options. But otherwise, oof, she just hits really, really hard. In a normal team that isn't necessarily a quicken team or like a spread hyper carry team, she can still hit pretty decently, just not as hard, obviously, because that's how spread works. But she still hits pretty well, especially because her special skill has that special scaling, where it's not just attack, it's also attack and EM, so there's something really, really good about that. Anyway, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. How is your Nahida? Do you even have Nahida? Let me know in the comments. I'm sure she's going to get a rerun at some point in the future, but the second rerun with Nilu didn't do so hot. I think that was mainly just because Genshin was kind of taking a backseat to Star Rail, so a lot of people weren't really terribly interested in getting Nahida or Nilu at the time. But depending on what happens, there may very well be a Nahida banner coming up sometime during Fontaine that is going to be just kind of ludicrously stacked. And then I'd hope to see Nahida once again reclaim her position as one of the best-selling characters in the game. But obviously, we'll see how that turns out. Otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more Genshin Impact action, and until next time, I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye!